My intuition was that there were more hands because
Yeah.
there are so many combinations of deals, right?
Yeah.
It's certainly in the many trillions.
We had some crazy auctions
Yep.
today.
But the thing is, there are even more auctions. You were right,
Yeah.
because there's so many that can go
Yeah.
pass, one diamond, pass, double.
We are in lovely Monterey, California. It's a nice room, huh, guys?
It's nice. It's a nice town. I've never been here before. Tracy's being the tour guide and showing me all around. It's a beautiful town. It's a beautiful bridge tournament. And I'm here from Seattle, so there's this weird glowing thing in the sky that
There's
is pretty
not
delightful.
always sun in Monterey, and this tournament can be a little rainy, although it's been glorious this week. And we're right on a golf course. It's gorgeous during the day. Aaron, I wanted to hear a little bit about your bridge story and how you even got into the game.
It took me a long time, actually. So when I was in college, we played a lot of cards. I wished we'd played bridge, but we didn't.
I played spades in
I
college.
played a lot of spades, yeah. That was the big trick-taking game.
Yep.
I wanted something like bridge. And then I had this friend who went home for the holidays and spent time with her grandmother. And her grandmother was a bridge player. She learned to play bridge with her grandmother and came back and said, I know this great new game. I'm going to teach you all how to play bridge.
How did she teach you?
She wrote down various things on a little slip of paper, mostly aphorisms, things like 8 ever, 9 never,
Okay.
and a little bit about the scoring and how the contracts worked.
Okay.
But she only played a couple days. She didn't know very much about bridge. And
Wow, that's amazing that she even knew that stuff.
Yeah.
Her grandmother was trying to stuff her brain. Oh my God, she's interested. I'm so excited.
Exactly.
Because when you find somebody interested in bridge, don't we all get really excited?
And she was trying to teach us, and we were playing rubber bridge, which is a kind of scoring that not that many people play anymore. But the thing about rubber bridge is you have to accomplish certain things for the game to end. You have to get special points above the line and below the line. We couldn't accomplish anything, so our games never ended. So we had these, because no one could bid to a contract they could make. So we just played and played and played.
How long did these games go on?
I mean, eventually we just called it quits, but they would go on for hours. I mean, it was fun, but at the same time, I knew I wasn't really getting it all. I was fascinated with the idea of bidding and the idea that you could have a system where bids mean different things you could use to communicate. Even when I didn't know very much, just the idea of that really tickled my fancy and just seemed interesting. And so my friend mentioned this thing called Gorin and said...
This thing called Gorin.
Do you want to tell them what the thing called Gorin is?
Well, Gorin, I would say, and this is my thing, is I think bridge. Originally, bridge started with Vanderbilt, and Eli Culbertson was one of the great marketers that got bridge to be, 25% of people played bridge back in the 30s.
Yeah.
And then Gorin was kind of the big marketer of the 60s, right? Getting people interested in bridge. And so Charles Gorin was a person and a personality. And he did lots of teaching and books and trying to make bridge easy for people. But there was a television show, and the Marx Brothers would come on and play, and, lots and lots of people played bridge back then. And so there's a lot of nostalgia for this game, but I want to hear this thing called Gorin.
So the thing called Gorin was white and about this thick. And
Was it a book?
It was a book.
Okay.
It was Gorin's New Bridge Complete. Oh
my God. Did you really? What year was this that you were learning Gorin?
Probably around the year 2000.
I became aware of bridge about 2005. Her grandmother taught her Gorin bridge in 2000?
I think her grandmother taught her Gorin bridge, but it was just
This is very old school bridge for newbies. We would never teach you that now.
Somehow she conveyed this name Gorin, that Gorin has, the book that's, I think probably her grandmother told her to read Gorin is the way to learn. She conveyed this name to me. We kind of stopped playing bridge and started doing other things. but it stuck with me. So I bought a copy of Gorin, and it's this thick book, and it is not designed as a primer for beginners. And really, the best way to start learning bridge is to start playing bridge. Mm-hmm. It's to be around people who are playing bridge.
Yep.
It's to be
have fun, enjoying the people that you're playing with.
Exactly. And to do all of that and just get a little bit of experience. That's what ties it all together. But I didn't have that. I had this thick textbook. It was a reference book, really. And so I tried for years to just thumb through it and read the pages and understand bridge. And I never did. I totally failed. And it wasn't...
My first bridge book was something super uber simple. Like, my husband found out I was a very good spades player and really into cards and got me into bridge. And I found some kind of like fun little book that had like fun, cutesy pictures, and it was very digestible. Yep. And I remember we used to have a hot tub at that time, and I would sit in the hot tub and I would read this book.
That is so you.
Why is that me?
Because you love bridge and you love comfort. That's my...
I like comfortable spaces. I like good restaurants.
Yes.
I like... Yeah.
That's a better way to put it. You are good at enjoying life.
Other friends of mine would say I can't do just one thing.
Well, that's
so I have to multitask.
I wasn't thinking that, but that may also be the case. Okay, so you're sitting here thumbing through your picture
book. Yeah, but
book.
it was a fun little, like, I've given that, like, I lost that book now. I don't even remember what it was, but it was super easy to digest. And I think for, like, beginning players, we need something super easy. Here's some basics. Start playing with some friends. Make lots of mistakes and learn from them and have fun.
I think you're totally right that it's so much harder to access because it used to be so many people played. You would just spend time in a college student union and people would be playing bridge and you pick it up. And the game's gotten more complex. It's gotten harder for people to just pick up. I often recommend that app, Tricky Bridge. I think it does an amazing job of going through the basics from someone who doesn't know anything about bridge.
Yep.
And if you go through the lessons in that, which are little and bite-sized, you can really sit down at a table and play some bridge.
And that's the thing, is I have also recommended Tricky Bridge since last year. I was at a software conference, and I'm at a table, and now in the software world that I'm living in, so many people know I play bridge, and it's like this thing, and they all want me to actually start teaching them. That's one of my projects for 2025. I'm sitting there with 5 guys at the one table, and the next morning, one of the guys comes back into the room, and he's like, I went online, I researched bridge, I found Tricky Bridge. I'm on level 13 now, and he was like hooked.
Yep.
And I was like, look, and I've told everybody, if you stay with bridge for a year, come back to me and I will give you a free lesson. I will play with you if you get into bridge and play it for a year. And a week later, after we got back from this software conference, he kept playing and he's like, oh, I think I got this thing. No. So cute. Because why do the world's greatest minds love to play bridge? Because you don't just get it in a week.
Yes.
It's ever changing. It is fascinating. It's evolving.
You can't even read all the books. I mean, there's shelves full of books about how to play.
Somebody said that the combinations of the hands and where you're sitting with a specific hand, that you could play one new bridge hand for a minute, it would take you 92 years to get the same one again, which makes that so much fun. And then we were talking about earlier about the different partnerships that you could have. So then that all changes it, and the different systems you're playing. Just infinite in number.
All right, so we're going to talk about your favorite thing. Let's talk about some math.
My husband would differ that math is my favorite thing. Although I will say I did go to engineering school. I've done fluffy bullshit for most of my career, but I did study chemical engineering and I only missed one question on the math SAT. But all of the math has left me after I was like 21 years old.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to ask you 2 math questions.
I can count to 13.
Well, that's really important in bridge.
Okay.
Are there more auctions in bridge, possible auctions, or are there more possible hands?
Well, I would say there has to be more possible auctions because you have 4 suits and 7 levels. There's got to be more possible auctions, right? I don't know. It's a math question. What is that? 4 and 7?
I mean, actually
52?
coming up,
Yeah.
no, you don't have to do the math on
Or
the
5.
spot. That's
Yeah,
hard.
5 and 7.
My intuition was that there were more hands because there are so many combinations of deals, right? You know, I don't even, it's certainly in the many trillions.
We had some crazy auctions today.
but the thing is, there are even more auctions. You were right, because there's so many that can go pass, one diamond, pass, double, pass. There's tons and tons of auction. All right, here's math question number 2.
Playing against a precision pair, you'll be there forever and you run out of pass cards.
This one I got from my friend Jeff, who you should interview sometime if you haven't.
Is this Jeff Ford that we're talking about? Yes. I mean, the whole Seattle crew eventually will go through this.
Are there, if you look at, let's suppose you had a list of every possible auction in bridge, and you looked at how many items were on the list. You knew the number of total possible bridge auctions. Is that an odd number or an even number?
I'm going to say it's an odd number.
Why?
Because there's 5 and 7 levels. I'm going to say it's an odd number. So clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades, no trump. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
But there's also each different player. You have 4 different players who could make each of those bids.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's an even. Oh, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about, see, that's why I don't do engineering and I do marketing and sales.
And you almost got the right answer.
I got 1 out of 2 right.
Yeah.
So 50%.
It's actually odd.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
The reason is that you can think of...
I'm happy I'm right.
You can think of every possible opening bid and every possible continuation with North opening. Every possible opening bid and every continuation with South opening.
Okay.
Same thing for East, same thing for West. So that's a multiple of 4. So you would think it would be even, but there's one auction that doesn't capture.
Okay.
Pass. So.
You started playing bridge in 2000. How old were you?
I was in my early mid-20s.
This is one of the things here at this bridge tournament. There are a lot of retirees because they have the time to be playing during the week of a 7-day long regional. But when we go to a nationals, there's more younger people. If you go out to a bridge club, they tend to be older, right?
It's one of the nice things is there's people who are very passionate about this game, and they tend to be the most interesting people. You meet so many cool, wild